Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. In my last video, I gave demo on how to migrate your RDS instance private and what are the benefits of running RDS with disabled public access. Now question comes, how do you connect to it? If you have a same question, you are in the right place. Today, I'll show you how SSH tunneling works and how you can use it with a Bastion host to securely connect to your RDS instance without making it public. Before we directly jump into the demo, let's understand what is SSH tunneling. SSH tunneling is like creating a secret pipe from your laptop to a remote server. In our case, it's a RDS database instance. Instead of connecting directly to the database over the internet, you send your request through SSH connection that forwards your request to the local port of your database port inside AWS. Think of it as a whispering to your database through secure pipe instead of shouting over the internet. If I talk about the AWS resources which I've created for this demo, they are as follows. So as we know, we need an RDS instance which is not publicly accessible. So this is the demo instance that I've created where the public accessible is set to no. Apart from that, I've also created one EC2 instance which will act as a Bastion host. Now, what Bastion host is actually and what is the purpose, I'll explain that in the later part of this video. So before we actually understand what is Bastion host, let's understand the technical view of SSH tunneling or how SSH tunneling works. Before we understand what is Bastion host, let's understand the technical view of SSH tunneling or how it works technically. When we run a command like this, SSH-I, your EC2 instance key followed by -L, then this will be your local host port number followed by the database URL followed by the port number on which the database is currently running followed by the username of your EC2 instance followed by the host IP address. So with this command, what we are telling SSH, forward my local port 5555 to the RDS port 5432 inside AWS. Send all the traffic through the Bastion host in an encrypted channel. From that point, anything I send to localhost 5555 will travel securely through the Bastion host into the RDS instance. Now next question comes, why we use Bastion host? A Bastion host is an EC2 instance in a public subnet with a public IP. If I talk about the infrastructure, so yeah, as you can see in the diagram, we have a VPC where we have a public subnet and the private subnet. So our Bastion host will be deployed into the public subnet which has a public IP address associated with. It acts as a gateway into VPC, giving you a safe way to reach private resources. In our case, it's a RDS instance. Your RDS is in private subnet, invisible from the internet. By connecting to the Bastion host first, we can reach out it without exposing it publicly. Here is the setup. Your laptop connects to this Bastion host, which is hosted in a public subnet, and then the Bastion host will help you to connect to the RDS instance, which is privately hosted. And all the traffic between your laptop and the RDS instance travel through an encrypted SSH tunnel. Through the setup. Step 1. Make sure your RDS public access is disabled. This is the case. Step 2. Launch an EC2 instance in a public subnet. This will be your Bastion host. We already have an EC2 instance provision which is into public subnet and we have a public IP address associated with. Step 3. In the Bastion host security group, allow SSH on port 22 from your local machine only. If I go to security, let's open the security group in the new tab. So yes, this is my local IP address. Step 4. In the RDS security group, allow inbound traffic on the database port from the VPC CIDR, since both resources, which is EC2 instance and RDS, they are part of same VPC. So if you go to RDS security group, select RDS security group and inbound rule as 172.31.0.16, which is the private IP address of my VPC. So step 5. From your local machine, run the SSH tunnel command. Before that, make sure that you have the Bastion host accessible from your local machine. Alright, I can access the Bastion host from my machine. So let's run the SSH tunnel command, which goes something like this. SSH, sorry, I forgot -f and -l command in this slide. And as I explained earlier, the command goes like this. So this is my local port, followed by the RDS instance, followed by the port on which my database instance is running, followed by the Bastion host username. In my case it's Ubuntu, in your case it could be different, followed by the public IP address of my EC2 instance. Now let's run this command. Alright, it seems like the command is running. Now let's try to connect to a database instance, but this time instead of using the database URL, you can use the local host, because I'll be using command psql-h, the local host, and then the port number and my database details. So this will ask me to enter my password. Let me enter my password. Alright, now connected to a database, I can create or execute any database if you have a permission so. It works under the hood. From your client perspective, you're talking to localhost, but in reality, your data goes from your laptop's port 5555 through the encrypted SSH session to the Bastion host, and then across the private network to the RDS port 5432. It's a secure detour, and the outside world never see your database. Now there are some security best practices which you can follow. First one is restrict SSH access to your IP address only. Second, use key-based authentication instead of password while connecting to your Bastion host. Third one, rotate your SSH key regularly. Fourth one, stop the Bastion host when you don't need it. And final one, never ever hardcode any credential into your code. Today you learned how you can securely connect to a private RDS instance using SSH tunneling and the Bastion host. If you found this helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more AWS tips.